Many of us take for granted the freedom we have to make our own decisions, go where we want to go, and chart our own course. This ability to live life at the helm of our own ship has often been denied to people with intellectual disabilities. In the past, institutionalization was offered as a best choice to provide support to individuals with intellectual disabilities. Over time, much insight has been gained about how to provide support for those that might need some assistance in their lives. Lessons have been learned about the value of individualized supports, choice, and the rights of citizenship for all. Steps have been taken to move supports from individuals being a passenger to living life at the helm. These stories from the Reclamation Project illustrate the impact that choice makes, and how these choices set the stage for the decisions we make in the future about and with people with disabilities. Warren Cornish was not born with a disability. He was a healthy boy with some breathing difficulties, but no developmental concern. While investigating his breathing problems as an infant, he was placed in cranial restraints that put pressure on his still pliable skull and consequently his brain. This resulted in a developmental delay. At the age of 5, Warren was placed in a care facility on the recommendation of doctors who felt his younger sister was modeling his behavior and thus not progressing at a pace typical of her age. For the family, this was a devastating decision that left them with guilt for many years. To Warren, he felt that when the new baby came, he was sent away. The treatment he received at the facility was abusive and neglectful. Though his parents did their best to make up for any perceived lack of care when he came home to visit, they could do little to affect what happened to Warren in the institution.
My brother has been in therapy for issues, and part of that was he said, when the new baby came, they sent me away. So I have a lot of guilt. Not that it was my fault, but the situation with him was hard right from the beginning. So he went to Smiths Falls. And my parents, as I say, had a really hard time with that. But under the advice of the doctor, this was something that they thought they were doing for the betterment of Warren and for my health and well-being as well. So it just ended up being a nightmare for my brother there. He was constantly abused, constantly beat up, just one thing after another. He had his fingers slammed indoors. He was in a coma, for a very long time because he'd been hit in the head with a bowling ball. There was no supervision. There was nothing there for him. He would come home, all the time. Like my parents, we had a summer house, so he would spend summers with us, birthdays, Christmas, Easter, like every holiday. He would be home for 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time, and spending time with the family, but then he would have to go back. My mom just in tears and hysterics, trying to get answers, trying to get help, trying to get somebody to do something for him, to investigate where his food had gone, where his clothing had gone, where his toys, his bicycles, everything that we had sent to him had gone. Nobody knew anything. I don't know, I wasn't working. I don't know. Nobody knew anything. And it was the same story over and over and over again. And this went on for years.
They do a lot to hit on girls and make them have kids. And then when they have kids, they have to send them away and adopt them, all the kids, to people. Like 2 or 3 a year. Well, they make you, if you do something bad, they make you stand in the corner with your finger on the wall, pointing right out, and make your leg go back right up, and you hold it up. If you move, they have you holding 2 pale water on your knees for at least a half an hour. And if they do the bad, they make you wear a nightgown to walk into the restaurant with your nightgown on, and they punish you that way too. make you upset. When you have a shower, they make you stand in line with no clothes on. If you're that bad, they make you scrub the floor with the toothbrush and clean toilets with the toothbrush. Sometimes if you get upset, you want to run away. Don't come back there. If you get caught, you've been punished really bad. They make you wear a nightgown for a whole month. I've seen a lot of people run away and die. I've been beaten up, kicked in the stomach, kicked in the private spot. And when they kick me near your heart too. And that's why I got that's why I had 2 operations on the heart, because I was been beaten up and kicked. That's why I got a pacemaker to help it out, the heartbeat. Yeah, they had their funeral before they have the funeral, they put them in the back room, in the back of the institution, and then do the operation and see what they died with and all that stuff. With the window wide open, people could see it.
The staff up there, they always come into work drunk, and then they started pushing me around and all that. And I got sick and tired of it. And I was glad to get out of that place. The staff been doing the same thing as other people there too. Beating them up and all this, and coming in drunk, and they sent us out of our room and locked the door. Said, "You stay in your room, no supper." Oh, one night, no one was up there. They took him someplace and beat him up, and he was in the hospital. He died in the hospital because he had a lot of stuff done to him.
The maintenance man took advantage of me. The nurses didn't know where I was because they didn't come and check on me. So I blamed them. I got pregnant. I think my baby was murdered because they didn't want him to be alive. When they give me cold packs, they kill that baby. I carry him right to 9 months, and then I find out he was stillborn. I didn't see him. They took him away. It was cold. It wasn't pleasant. They covered me up with sheets, cold sheets. They leave me there for a while. It made me feel angry. They didn't understand what I was pregnant, and they killed my little boy. They knew he was a boy because his body, I don't know what they did with him. They took him away, didn't show me him. It wasn't pleasant because I lost my baby, and I had to live with that the rest of my life. I live with that now. What he went through, that baby, with the maintenance man, he blamed it all on me. They didn't believe when we went to the meeting. They didn't believe me. They said it was my fault. He didn't get fired. I couldn't believe it. When he took me to the cemetery, I seen the cross. It wasn't wood, it was civil bars. They didn't care. As long as they put him in the ground, I just couldn't believe it. I had to guess who the baby, which one was my baby. I put ribbons on them, on every one of them, because I didn't know which one was his.
The way you run with the worship run, I used to go out and take a walk around. They let you walk around, but you had to make sure you tell them where you're going, though. And then you just can't delete the boards without not telling them. But if you come back, you have to press the button, they come and let you back in again. They got a door thing that you press and they let you back in and lock the doors back up again. No, I didn't have no special holiday like Christmas. Christmas, everybody else in the ward, a lot of them go home for Christmas. And no, I didn't have any, no, I didn't get nothing. I didn't get no present, no nothing. I never go on the women's side anyway. You're not allowed to go on the women's side, and the women are allowed to come on the men's side. And then they get locked in this place here, in this room here. And that time they didn't have a dresser in there. They didn't have no beds in there. You had to sleep it on the floor until they learn behave. And then they let them out. And then they come and check on it. They come and check on it because they have a little window in the door they can see. They got little windows in the doors, and they can see you in there. About 4 days or 3 days, and that was a terrible place to be in.
For some, the picture of life in an institution was not all bad. The principle was sound. How can untrained parents, often with few resources, properly care for children who have numerous medical, social, and developmental requirements?
I want to go back there for a while. I miss my friend, all the people saying that I like it there. It was just still open. I don't know why it's closed all the time. It feels nurses down there.
Additional support was needed, and to an extent, it made sense to provide a range of services to a number of people in a central location. However, what looks good on paper can sometimes be different than actuality. For the caregivers and specialists at the residential institutions, working conditions were not much better.
And we trained them how to look after certain things, like they did the dishes, they did like to look after a home, right? They mopped the floors, we taught them how to make beds, self-care skills, everything to get them ready for the next step, either the community or TNR. In the institution, often that's how the programs were done. They were just signed off as done, and they weren't done. So toothbrushing, we were to teach toothbrushing. Well, too much work, so they did it this way. So, but in that program, it really was well run, and it was really good. And only because I worked there did I know, how good it really was. Obviously, there were never enough staff, right, to do everything. You have 20 clients, 2 staff on. It's certainly, nobody had a bubble bath and nobody had anything leisurely, or it wasn't like an enjoyable time for them. It was get them in and get them out, get them ready for bed. So nobody really knew how they felt, right? So many of them didn't speak. The only thing you would really know is by bad behavior, right? And bad behavior, we called it going on the rip. And going on the rip would be attacking staff, or just beating themselves up, hitting themselves, or some were able to speak, but they wanted affection and they wanted love and they wanted to be noticed and they wanted to talk. And so you let them talk. I can't say that they were happy. Like how would we know, right? They couldn't tell us in any way. So many of them were nonverbal. And so many of them, all they could do is either sit all day or stand. Some would pick all the hairs out of their, some would just rock all day, in a chair, and not a rocking chair. They would actually be rocking in the chair. I don't think that the 2 years I was in school prepared me for what I was seeing. It certainly didn't prepare me for with so many different behaviors. And what do I do? How do I help this one? What do I do here? All I could do was just be kind. What else could you do? You didn't have the skills. We had behavior modification, but it really didn't prepare us for what we were facing every day. If they misbehaved, often it would be like, you're not coming in for lunch, you're not having any lunch. So the one thing that they had to look forward to, their meals and going in the dining room, was taken away. So there wasn't any reward for good behavior, except maybe extras at a mealtime. But there was always punishment, right? It was no meals, the timeout room, just those kinds of things.
William and Carolyn Hamilton were a typical couple, awaiting the birth of their baby. When the day came, they welcomed their new daughter with joy. Soon they learned that T.D. had cerebral palsy. This meant that she would need additional supports throughout her life. Parents during this era were advised to send their children to an institution meant to care for those with profound medical demands. If you love your child, doctors said, you will put them where they can get the care they need. It will be too much for you to handle on your own, and your child will need expensive professional care and daily support for the range of motor and speech disabilities they'll experience. For much of the 20th century, this was the medical advice given to parents of children with intellectual disabilities. But T.D.'s father, a doctor himself, never considered placing her into an institution. The family would support her themselves.
It was 1924 when my aunt was born, and you institutionalized your children at that time. But they didn't, and they kept her at home. And so my grandfather, every day, at the end of the day, he'd lovingly carry her upstairs to her bedroom and put her to bed. And there was this woman there one night, and she said, "Oh, that must be such a burden." And he said, "No, this is a privilege." Parents were told, to put your child in an institution and then kind of forget about them, right? And I can't imagine not knowing her. I can't imagine what her life would be like if she had been institutionalized. I probably wouldn't know her. I probably wouldn't be who I am because of all the things that she has shared with me.
At the time of this production, T.D. is 95 years old and is the longest living person in Canada with cerebral palsy. She remained at home, supported by her parents and 9 siblings. She then lived independently, with help from friends and neighbors for most of her adult life. T.D. was very involved in the Catholic Church. Her life has been full, and at one point she was the president of the Catholic Women's Institute in her hometown. At the time, institutions seemed like a cost-effective and acceptable method of providing support to people who could not fully look after themselves. However, the challenge with grouping people together is that individualized supports can become lost. And while it appears that needs are being met, perhaps some of the most basic human needs, such as choice, autonomy, and independence, are lost.
Anybody who was different in any shape or form, and it really didn't matter how the difference was, they would be sent there. The places were far away, in rural settings, hard to get to. Visiting was frowned upon. And in some cases, they were just simply told that you shouldn't visit your child. Now,
well, I think in what I wrote, the biggest challenge always has been staffing, not enough staff. Layout of the facility was quite a few acres, and the buildings were separate. But you might find yourself working in a ward with by yourself at night with 40 individuals. And if down in the housing area, you might be assigned to 4 houses by yourself. So it didn't leave much time to do any integration.
The parents can't be blamed for, for following what was told was best for their child. Like, you want what's best for your child and you think that that's going to be it.
you find out more information about a personal situation and a personal life. And instead of coming at the surface and saying, oh, they're different, they need to be over there, you get to know the person. You have a relationship with them. You get to know them intimately. And you're going to change your mind and you're going to come to the truth.
When we integrated into the community, we tried to put a small number of people in our group homes that we were developing. And we tried to put people who knew each other and were friends and liked each other into a home, so it would come out as a family, more like a family. When they closed the big institutions, right thing to do, because no one should have to live in a huge institution.
We can never go back to the institutions. And even, I just believe that it's just a way of life that is wrong. It's not going to work.
So I think things are a lot better for people in Ontario now than they were, which is not to say everything's great, but things are much better. We learned a lot, and part of what we learned is that you got to pay attention to all the details. You've got to get things right, and you've got to have external safeguards. You've got to be completely transparent.
Warren Cornish was moved into community living at the age of 24. His sister Leanne describes the difference as night and day.
We noticed a huge difference because we were constantly worrying about him, constantly stressing. And for the longest time, we did as well with community because we didn't know. But then as time went on, he began to flourish and he began to grow and to shine. And you could really see the true Warren coming through, the programs that he was involved in, the events, because they were the odd thing that you would hear of them doing in these other places, but not like in community living, And then we realized he was being fed. He was safe where he was, we didn't have to worry about him wandering the streets in the middle of winter with no clothes on. We didn't have to worry about that because there was always someone to take care of him and someone there who was responsible and who was accountable for him and for all the other people in their care.
And I was glad to get out of that place. I go to Gan every summer to the playhouse, boat cruises, and K-Pass and Kingston here. And plus I got a job. Or buy a piece of property, build a log cabin, and go on trips. And spend more time with my nieces.
I love living on my own. When I was in Kingston, I was in housing.
Finding it a lot more better now. Like, you can do what you want, you don't get bossed around. And it's more better to live in a community and living in there. It's more better because there's people got their rights now, what they want to do now. Until the other, they didn't have rights, but now they have got rights now.
I feel relieved like crazy, so I was glad I got a job and you could do what you would like to do. I went skydiving last September, jumped out of the plane. I had somebody behind me too, eh? And a lot of people at work said, "Are you crazy?" I said, "No, I did it. And I'm alive." Don't go, make sure you don't go to the institution. To tell the doctor, "Hey, I got my right where I want to live. I will stand up for what my right is, just to live in the community."
As Leanne Hinch put it, institutions were dehumanizing and demoralizing. They had small niceties, and many good humans worked there, but it was overshadowed by all the negative. Going back to an institutional model is not the best way forward for persons with disabilities. A community approach can provide the benefits of good support along with personal dignity, the rights of citizenship, and freedom. During this project, the vast majority of stories indicated that having a progressive and supportive model moving forward makes sense. There is a profound societal and personal value in truly living life at the helm.
There was nothing that you could say that was good about it. It just wasn't. We can't go back to that.
Some people say I'm groovy. Some people say I am dumb. But if you spend some time with me, you will find I'm feeling free, Lord. Carry me away. Lord, carry me away. For I've done my share today. Lord, carry me away. For I've done my share today. I don't care what people say. They wish it me anyway. They treat me good, they treat me bad. They make me blue, they make me sad. Lord, carry me away. Lord, carry me away. For I've done my share today. Lord, carry me away. For I've done my share today. For I've done my share today.
The Reclamation Project was made possible through a grant from the Special Projects Initiative, a fund resulting from the class action settlement against the Ontario government for abuses in Ontario's 3 largest institutions.
This film has been produced in cooperation with the Seneca College School of Media.